In this video, we're going to talk very much about the right arm move coming in towards the downswing, or the trail arm move, to be more specific, for our left-handed minority as well. And the importance here is understanding the relationship between what your trail arm is going to be doing alongside with what your body movement is equally going to be doing. Because what happens with most amateur golfers is that we don't turn particularly well, right? So we have more of a tendency to kind of not turn and move therefore closer towards the golf ball. And then the problem is, well, if I'm moving close towards the golf ball, you know, as I start the downswing, I'm going to have to sort of pull the club down. And as I pull the club down, the club shaft is going to get more steep. And then all of a sudden, we've got a bit of an issue where I'm moving this way and the club shaft is getting steep, which is why we end up looking and getting quite stuck in the bottom part of that golf swing. And that offers you a bit of a problem. One, you could argue that it means that the club face isn't very stable, right? So it kind of means, like, you know, trying to pass that club head isn't easy. But I would just say that the bigger problem is you're just sacrificing a tremendous amount of distance moving that way, right? It's the same as if you were going to sort of skim a stone, and instead of moving like so, you sort of move like this. And distance, as we all know by now through things like strokes gained and other applications and other ideas, is distance. It plays an integral role in your capability to lower your handicap and get better. So we do need to kind of learn how to do this a little bit better. So what we want to do, though, in this video, is we want to focus very much on the sort of trail arm movement, okay, as I sort of start this downswing. And what should happen is, in isolation, okay, so if I sort of swing up towards the top of my backswing and the club shaft is pointing down towards my target line, which means it's on plane, if I quite simply just move my arm away from me, so instead of doing like a bicep curl, right, one of my students said it's kind of like doing the opposite, right, like a reverse bicep curl. And that's important because sometimes people go, oh, I've just got to straighten my arm, and then they do this, like this, and then what you don't realise is that you are straightening your arm, but you're also inducing rotation. So you're doing this, which is not what we want. We want to quite literally do this, okay, which is quite simply just moving, like you say, in terms of not a bicep curl, a reverse bicep curl, okay, like that. And what that motion does is that creates a shallowing, as you can see. So you can see the way my club goes more vertically if I do it incorrectly, and it kind of shallows as I do it correctly. And if I then focus from the sort of face-on perspective, you can see the way the club head now gets further away from the body. And that's a feeling that you really need to have, okay? Because as I sort of start my downswing, what should happen is I should really turn my lower body and my chest progressively over towards my lead side. Okay, and then as I'm doing that, if I get the feeling of just straightening that arm for a moment, I'll come back to this in a little bit more detail as I turn, that's what gets us into this fantastic looking position. So you can see the way now my hands are over my opposite, my sort of trail thigh, my arms are nice and straight and low to the ground, and then as I sort of continue to rotate and do a bit of arm rotation, that's going to get you into a really sort of solid impact position. So if you're somebody who sort of starts the downswing and you sort of like try and pull your arms closer, your hands end up really high, that's why you're going to end up looking like quite scoopy, and your ball striking is not going to be as good. So you really need that. Now, simultaneously to that, you do need to move your upper arm towards the side of your body, okay? So what that means is you can't just literally move your forearm away from your upper arm. You have to simultaneously move your upper arm to the side of your body as well. And that's why you can then kind of just talk about like driving the elbow. So in my older version of myself on the YouTube channel, I used to talk a lot about driving the elbow, where I drive the elbow towards the side of your body. I think that feeling works just fine. Okay, that works just fine. As long as you keep your right forearm pointing up towards the sky as you do that, that will create this same sort of shallowing motion whilst you turn this way. And that's ultimately what you're after. And then, like I said to you, the benefit of doing that, if I swing up to the top, the benefit of being in this position is now as my chest is turned, I can keep turning. The more that my chest moves, the more my shoulder can come back and propel that club forward. But also there's just more space to be able to keep that club more stable coming in towards the bottom part of that golf swing. So play around with it. That's the key thing here. As I talked recently on a video about practice, you've just got to try and get used to sort of, when you're practicing, get used to the sort of playing around with some of these positions, okay, which can be difficult when it gets cold in the wintry golf. But that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get that feeling of turning towards the target as you keep that forearm pointing up towards the sky. It'll make you a way better golfer. I'll see you guys again really